In this video, I'm going to animate a walk cycle in 10 seconds, followed by 1 minute, and then 10 minutes, then an hour, and finally 10 hours. Alright, gonna jump straight into the 10-second animation. I think I can squeeze in about 2 frames in that time, so I guess I'll pick my poses carefully. I have to make sure I turn on onion skin. There we go. Okay, 10 seconds, starting now. Next frame. There. That was like 6 seconds. Okay, that's a moving image. That could theoretically be described as a walk. But let's move on to the 1 minute animation, see if I can make something resembling a walk cycle. And begin. Alright, this is not gonna look pretty. It's just gonna look functional. If that. Next. It takes so long to undo a stroke. I'm running out of time. Okay. That's that. I'm gonna put that on 2s. Loop it. Oh, I didn't even draw arms on one of the frames. Okay, how does this look? Yeah, I mean, that works, I guess. Is it better than my blind walk cycle? I don't know. You be the judge. Alright, now that I have 10 minutes, I really ought to make this look somewhat decent. Gonna spend more time on each pose, maybe do some in-betweens, maybe have a face and hands? I don't know. Starting right now. Alright, head. I'm thinking this is gonna be my sketch layer, and then if I have time, I do an actual layer on top. There's some thickness in the body this time. I just thought I should do that. Coming down a little bit. Now he comes above. I probably should have chosen a different blue for this. The onion skin is getting very confusing. The leg crossing over, and the arms are kind of in the middle. God, I've already wasted almost 4 minutes. Peak, height. I'll actually remember to draw the arms. Okay, I can do some in-betweens. Will this make it look better, or will it just look weird? And only time will tell. I've got 2.5 minutes left. Okay, that's fine, maybe. Yeah, I think this is sticking to the sketch layer. Okay, I weirdly have a minute left, but I don't know what to do with it. I know, I'll add a face on another layer. It's gonna just be distorting and moving the whole time. Really strangely. But it might be charming. Got 30 seconds left. 15 seconds. What do I do? Alright, I guess I'm done. Let's have a peep. Alright, certainly smoother. I mean, I basically just doubled the frames, so it's a happier walk cycle, as you can tell by the smile, but I think you can see the potential with using more time. Who would have thought? Yeah, maybe a little underwhelming, but not terrible. So let's do the 1 hour walk cycle. For the 1 hour walk cycle, I started off doing the same sort of thing I've been doing with a rough sketch layer, but this time it was a fully clothed human being. It took like 15 minutes just to do the first 4 frames, and then I had to do the in-betweens. Then I copied the first 8 frames and redrew parts of those so that the left and right limbs switched places. The whole rough animation process took almost 40 minutes, which was not ideal, but I figured the clean layer and coloring wouldn't take as long. But I did also have to draw this face that was like a slightly more advanced version of the 10-minute one. With 17 minutes left, I started the clean drawing, which started to get more panicked with each frame as it slowly became clear that I wasn't going fast enough. Now, this is where the confession comes in. I didn't finish in an hour, because I still had some coloring to do. It was like 5 minutes over, but trust me, I was not taking my time, which you will see from how scuffed this is. And here it is, my 1 hour walk cycle. If you're a little underwhelmed, well, same. But what can I say? Animation takes a long time. It's not perfect, but it's not all bad. Overall, I think the timing's pretty good. It's pretty smooth. It's just a bit basic, I guess. But there are definitely some flaws to point out. So first of all, I forgot to draw an arm on one of the frames, which just seems to keep happening. I don't know why. Another thing is the collar keeps changing directions, which I'm gonna attribute to rushing. It should be facing, like the point of it should be facing forward the whole time, but it only is on like 4 frames. Aside from that, the line work is just kind of bad, and I guess the volumes aren't quite consistent. But yeah, it's not really reasonable to expect that to be perfect, or even want that to be perfect. So yep, that's my 1 hour walk cycle. Let's move on to 10 hours. So I decided to make this one some sort of humanoid creature, but I didn't know exactly what at first. I was also planning to have more moving parts and exaggerated motion, but the first step, as always, is to sketch out the key poses. So you can see I'm just doing a stickman, and I'm going to draw a full body on top later. It took an hour just to animate the full stickman, but that's only a 10th of my time, so it's actually going much better than the 1 hour walk cycle. Now I'm drawing the actual character, sort of a tree guy with a skull for a head. And what you see here is the essence of what it will end up as, but I do build upon it. So after that, I tweaked the animation some more, and that is something that's going to be happening constantly. Then I started the full frame-by-frame drawings. I could have just drawn each body part once and then tweened them, which honestly wouldn't have been that different. But I have 10 hours and frame-by-frame just looks cooler and more organic. I shaded the arms and legs and tried to have them react to the imaginary light source from the right, but it just looks bad if you don't nail it, so I refilled all of that with solid colors later. Now for something I didn't do with any of the others, a background. This is going to bring the animation to life and really sell the movement. Hopefully create a cool atmosphere. And it's going to have different layers moving at different speeds, aka parallax, to give it some depth. And from here it's adjusting the animation, adding more moving bits like vines and hair and glowing swirly things that are there for some reason. Also working on the background, undoing and redoing things, effects and colors. So yeah, I'm just going to let the rest of this time-lapse play out and get back to you with the finished product. And here is my 10-hour walk cycle. It's much prettier to look at than the other ones. Smoother, more detailed, more frames. It's basically just more of everything, and less flaws, I hope. I would say there's nothing glaringly bad to point out. It is a little choppy in parts. I guess the actual walk itself is pretty basic. I could have had a wackier cadence, or like maybe a giant staggering step or something. But you know, just as a straightforward walk, it's certainly the best one. I'm fairly happy with the character design, but I feel like it could do with some more detail. And yes, a flaming skull is quite derivative. But that's okay, it looks cool, I think. Also, I really could have done more with the background. I was thinking of doing all of that or part of it in Photoshop, but I just decided to stick with the Adobe Animate aesthetic. And I didn't want to shade the moving objects. I mean, I kind of did with the foreground. But yeah, I didn't want to shade them because the shading would start to not make sense the further it got away from the sun, unless I animated it each frame, which would be an actual nightmare. But this works and it looks good. So yes, despite working on a walk cycle for 10 hours, there's still quite a bit to improve on. So maybe that's a skill issue, but the important thing is we learn from it. But yeah, I do like how this turned out in general. So that was my 10-second to 10-hour walk cycle animation extravaganza. Let me know if I should do this with some other thing, like a bouncing ball or, you know, something like that. But I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.